So in the next part of this exercise, I then arranged my outcomes into some different so that chains. So starting with the side on the follow-up from the clinic, the two short-term outcomes are an enhanced referral process that benefits us on our end of making sure that our referrals are working correctly, and then an increase in the number of households enrolled in these services for malnourished children. And I put them side by side because if you imagine arrows going from all these post-it notes, there can be an arrow going back and forth between the two, that our enhanced referral process could cause an increase in number of households enrolled. And so they can happen simultaneously and they don't necessarily depend on each other. Unlike the outcome down here, which is more of like a midterm outcome, which is the decrease in GAM in children 6 to 59 months, in order for that to happen, we first have to have an increase in the number of households enrolled or an enhanced referral process. So as you can see in this so that chain, we're showing that, for example, on the right-hand side, we have an increased number of households enrolled so that we decrease GAM in children, so that we end up producing our goal of eliminating GAM in cases in Kutupalong Camp. On the left-hand side is the so that chain for the IYCFE education. And so here it's just a cascading so that chain that's very straightforward, that these short-term outcomes have to happen first before the longer-term outcomes can happen. So first we have an increase in mothers receiving nutrition counseling so that mothers report an increased milk production, because part of what this nutrition counseling does is that it helps them learn how to properly breastfeed their babies, and a big part of that is making sure that the practices they're using give them the most milk production that they can. So they have mothers report an increased milk production so that they increase in confidence in their breastfeeding. And one of the benefits of using this post-it note method is that then I can go along and say, actually, I don't think that this is right. I'm going to take this outcome and put it alongside this one, because the nutrition counseling can lead to women having increased milk production, and it can lead to an increased confidence, but you don't have to have more milk production first before having more confidence. These two can impact each other. She can have more confidence and then report more milk production because she's more confident. The milk production can cause her to be more confident, or she could have only one or the other problem. She doesn't necessarily have to have both. So here we have now in my revised so that chain that they receive counseling, which can lead to an increase in milk production and or an increase in confidence. Both of those happen so that there's a decrease in household purchases of breast milk substitutes, because now that the mother is able to produce enough milk on her own and she has the confidence that she can do that, then they're not going to be relying on purchasing breast milk substitutes. So then that leads to an increase in the number of babies that are exclusively breastfed at ages 0 to 6 months, which is going to lead to a decrease in severe acute malnutrition cases in infants 0 to 6 months. A big part of the reason why we see malnutrition in infants is because they're not being exclusively breastfed. They're getting either powdered milk, or they're getting infant formula, or they're even getting other complementary foods that are not appropriate for that age group, and the children are losing weight and getting very seriously malnourished and in a very risky situation. So this so that chain is ultimately leading down to that longer term impact of seeing fewer SAM cases in the camp, and ultimately leading to the goal that all infants 0 to 6 months are exclusively breastfed. And it also does feed into our other goal of eliminating GAM cases, because SAM is a type of GAM. It's one of the types of malnutrition that we look at. So this activity chain leads all the way down to both goals. So this was just kind of a really rough draft. I'm still going to be working on it. I might add more outcomes. I might switch them around a little bit. But it's to give you an idea of what that process looks like and the process that you can do with your organization when you work with them, so that you can see kind of how this gets put together. This method, like I said, really allows for you to play around with this, and it doesn't have to be perfect on the first time, because you can move these around all over the place without having to fidget with pen and paper and or a computer screen or whatever. This is very easy to move things. So I hope you find this helpful for creating so that chains, which help you create your outcome maps, which helps you have a great final project.